Relative Velocity 2010 question 2. When a motorcyclist travels along a straight road from south to north, so that's positive J, at a constant speed of 12.5 meters a second, the wind appears to her the velocity of the wind relative to the motorcyclist instead of man, because it is a woman, from a direction north 45 degrees east. Okay, let's deal with those variables here. We're looking for the velocity of the wind in the end of this question, both its magnitude and direction, and we have a second scenario, so we're going to be able to equate two things. So scenario 1 up here, scenario 2. Scenario 1, the velocity of the motorcyclist is equal to positive J, so 0I, plus 12.5 J. In scenario 2, the velocity of the motorcyclist is 0I, and it's coming down the same road at the same speed. It's just different wind, so minus 12.5 J. We don't know the velocity of the wind in either case, so give it a letter that you like working with, X and Y. Velocity of the wind, xi, plus y in the j direction. I'm going to solve for them. So the velocity of the wind relative to the motorcyclist in both cases is what we need to get here. And we need to understand that the velocity of the wind relative to the motorcyclist is equal to the velocity of the wind minus the velocity of the motorcyclist. So we're going to be looking for the velocity of the wind, so we're going to have to add the velocity of the wind relative to the motorcyclist to the velocity of the motorcyclist to get the velocity of the wind here. These two added together. So what is the velocity of the wind relative to the motorcyclist in scenario 1? It appears to come from a direction north 45 degrees east. So it's coming from the northeast and it's going down in this direction. So that's into a negative sector. So we know, what do we know? We know it's 45-degree angle, so then the speed, the I and J vector will have the same coefficient. So we just need to give it a coefficient, and also that because it's 45 degrees, if we were dealing X and Y, X will be equal to Y here. So the X and Y are going to be both negative and they're both going to be the same letter. So I'm going to call it A, minus A in the I direction, minus A in the J direction is what this wind has to be in meters per second. And over here, the velocity of the wind relative to man, again, we don't know its speed, but we do have another 45-degree scenario here, so it's coming down this way. This direction is coming from the southeast, so it's coming up into this sector, which is negative, positive. So again, we don't know anything about the speed, so give it a letter, and it's going in a negative. We used A minus B in the I direction, and it's going positive, the same speed, in the J direction. So what can we say here? Well, we have two things here that we can equate once we get the velocity of the wind in terms of A and B. So the velocity of the wind, as we said up here, it's these two things added together. So I'm saying my two I's are just 0 minus A, so minus A in the I direction, and we have 12.5 minus A, 12.5 minus A in the J direction, and in this case the velocity of the wind is equal to, so we're going to add our 0 and our minus B, so just minus B in the I direction, and in the J direction we have minus 12.5 plus B, so we have B minus 12.5 or minus 12.5 plus B in the J direction. So with two velocity of winds, will this help? Minus A I is equal to minus bi. So we can say that A is equal to B. And if A is equal to B, 12.5 minus A has to be equal to B minus 12.5. And if I could replace A with B, I get 12.5 minus B is equal to B minus 12.5. So you're going to get 2B. 2B equals 25. So B is 12.5. So the velocity of the wind is minus 12.5 in the I direction, and in the J direction we're going to get 12.5 minus 12.5, so 0 in the J direction. That should work over this side as well. We're going to get minus 12.5A is 12.5 in the I direction, and we're going to get, you can see plus 0 in the J direction. So we have the velocity of the wind, the magnitude of the velocity when there's only one component, square root of 12.5 squared, so 12.5, and the direction theta is equal to, we asked for the magnitude and direction of the velocity of the wind. There's no J component, just minus I, so theta is coming in the minus I direction, so it's coming from east, or you could say to the west.